Tonight, the Carolina Hurricanes are set to continue their 6-game homestand, this time against the Anaheim Ducks. Find out what they need to do to come away with the win in this episode of Locked On Hurricanes.
You're Locked On Hurricanes, your daily podcast on the Carolina Hurricanes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hey there, Caniacs. I'm your host, Jared Ellis, and you're listening to Locked On Hurricanes on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And as always, thank you for making Locked On Hurricanes your first listen of this Thursday afternoon. And today's episode is brought to you by Jase Medical. Empower yourself when you purchase a Jase case, providing you with a personal supply of 5 antibiotics that treat 50 plus infections. Get yours today at jasemedical.com and use code LOCKEDON to get $20 off your order. That's JASE medical.com. Now, diving into tonight's game against the Ducks, the Hurricanes have not played since Saturday when they lost to the St. Louis Blues in a shootout. And the Carolina Hurricanes, they've been on a heck of a run as of late. They've earned points in 12 of their last 13 games, and they have really turned the ship around from where it had been earlier on in the season. And that is really, really important in just moving forward, not just in tonight's game. And I think that the Hurricanes, they really, need to be on their A game tonight because of that rust situation. The 4-game break that they've had definitely worries me a little bit, but we'll get into that in a bit as well. In their previous meeting, these two teams back in October, the Ducks beat the Hurricanes 6-3. The Ducks got out to a 3-0 lead pretty early. Hurricanes did fight back, but obviously, they did not come away with the win there. So a big thing for tonight for me is avoiding the trap game, because this game really has the markings of a trap game written all over it. The Hurricanes, like I said, they've really fought their way back. Again, earned 12 points in their last 13 games, climbed their way back up to second in the Metropolitan Division, currently sitting behind only the New York Rangers. And the Hurricanes are at 22, 13, 5, and 49 points, whereas the Ducks are yet again kind of struggling, currently sitting at 7th in the Pacific Division at 14, 25, and 1 and 29 points. So, it's definitely one of those things where this has all the makings for a trap game. Again, you look at where both of these teams are in their respective divisions. I'm just out of curiosity going to look to see where they're both at in the NHL. Hurricanes are sitting at 10th in the NHL, and Anaheim is sitting at 29th in the NHL. So you look at standing wise, definitely, again, all the makings of a trap game. Hurricanes are coming off of a long 4-day break. Anaheim, they haven't played since Tuesday, where they beat Nashville. So the Hurricanes really have to be able to come out and maintain the momentum that they've had over this last stretch of games. That's going to be really, really important tonight, folks, is maintaining that momentum, not having that rust. And I think one thing that they really need to do, which we've talked about a lot and we'll continue to talk about it, is, of course, the fact that, sometimes they don't always play the full 60 minutes. That's going to be really important as well. Getting out and setting the tone early. Like, we are, the Hurricanes. We're not the team we were when you last saw us back in October. We're back to our normal selves. That's going to be important tonight. And I think that they need to play that full 60 minutes. That is my biggest thing tonight, because we've seen it in the past when they go into games like this where they're just like, it's Anaheim, it is what it is. This is going to be a walk in the park. And on paper, yeah, it probably should be. Should be a game where, like the score from the last game is reversed. It should be the Hurricanes beating the Ducks 6-3 or something like that. But again, we've seen the exact opposite happen before. I've said many times over the years of the NHL. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. That Anaheim is 29th in the NHL right now. Anything can happen on any given night. These are, at the end of the day, NHL teams. And the players on these teams got to be able to play at a certain level. Yeah, some play better than the others, but, they got to be on their A game tonight. And like I've been saying, avoiding the rust is key tonight. And, one person that I am going to be worried about with rust is that of Jesper Fast, as he is expected to make his return to the lineup tonight. And we will dive into that projected lineup for tonight, as well as keys to the game right after this quick break, folks. Now, I know we come to sports to escape some of the crazy realities of real life, but can we just talk for a minute about preparing for real life? According to the FDA, pharmacies are running out of antibiotics like amoxicillin right in the middle of the worst flu season in over a decade. This is scary. I can't imagine a more helpless feeling of one of my friends or loved ones, or just anyone that I care about, getting sick while a supply chain issue kept them from the life-saving medication that they needed. Thankfully, we'll be okay because of Jase Medical. The Jase case is a pack of 5 different antibiotics to treat a long list of bacterial illnesses, including UTIs, respiratory infections, sinuses, skin infections, among others. This stuff could happen to any of us. Visit jasemedical.com and complete your physician encounter. It will be reviewed by a board-certified physician, and your medications will be dispensed by a licensed pharmacy at a fraction of the regular cost. It's never been more important to be prepared than today. Go to jasemedical.com and use offer code LOCKEDON for $20 off your order. Now, like I said, avoiding rust is key tonight, folks. Not only, as I said, for the team as a whole. That is the thing I'm preaching off this whole episode, is just avoid the rust, avoid the rust, avoid the rust. Because, again, we have seen it many times. They have these breaks like this and they come back and they look rusty. They look like they haven't played in days. And that's going to be really important tonight. And like I said earlier, Jesper Fast is expected to make his return to the lineup tonight. And I do want to, of course, dive into the projected lineup as a whole, of course, as well. Fast had been out for a little bit due to a upper body injury. So obviously, him, I imagine they're probably going to limit his ice time some, kind of like they did with Svetch when he came back from his stuff, and, just kind of ease him back into it, not just throw him into the deep end. So you can expect that tonight, of course. But, it's going to be, really interesting. You kind of figure something like this is probably going to be happening soon, with Ponomarev going back to Chicago. You figured someone was coming back into the lineup, whether it be Fast, Natchez, but it's looking like it's going to be Fast. Natchez is going to miss a third consecutive game tonight due to upper body injury he's had in last Thursday's practice. It's looking like Kochetkov will be in net. He has been on a great run as of late. Been 7-1-2 with a .931 save percentage since December 12th. And according to the Hurricanes projected lineup article, is what I'm reading from, only Martin Jones of Toronto has a better save percentage in the Eastern Conference during that time frame with a minimum of 10 games played. But looking at the projected lineup for tonight is, of course, no surprise. Uh, Svechnikov, Aho, Teravainen on that top line. You figure, that's going to be the case probably for the foreseeable future with just how they've been able to just come back and really just light up the offense for the Hurricanes. They've been absolutely fantastic. We'll talk more about Svechnikov and Aho in a little bit with the keys to the game. On the second line is, of course, Bunting, Kokiniemi, and Nazen. Third is Martinook, Stahl, and Jarvis. And then on the fourth, it is Lemieux, Drury, and Fast. This is interesting here. You obviously knew someone was going to be coming out of the lineup, of course, with Jesper Fast coming back in. So, you knew that was going to happen. But it is interesting seeing them stick with, excuse me, stick with Brendan Lemieux rather than wow, I totally misread the lineup too. Nazen is up on the second line. Excuse me, man. Uh, him slotting back into the lineup really threw me off because, of course, we are so used to the Martinook Stahl Foss line. You see any of those guys moved around, it just like throws you off your game. And hopefully, it threw me off my game. Just sitting here reading. Hopefully, having Jarvis there with Stahl and Martinook and Foss there with Drury and Lemieux. Hopefully that can throw Anaheim off their game too. You never know, just little things like that, how they can potentially affect the game. Then on the defensive side of things, no surprises here whatsoever, as they are the same as they always are. Slave and Burns, Shea Pesci, Orlov, and Chatfield. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And like I said, it is expected to be Pyotr Kochetkov in between the pipes tonight for the Hurricanes. Again, he has been on a great stretch, and I'm absolutely loving it. Again, 7-2-1 since December 12th, .931 save percentage. And another thing with while we're talking about the team as a whole, Jordan Martinook, this is going to be his 600th NHL game tonight and his 353rd with the Hurricanes. So, congratulations to him. Loving that for him. We obviously love having him here with the Hurricanes for over 300 games. And here's to the next 300 for him. And I'm excited for this game tonight. Again, big game for Marty. Fast is coming back in the lineup. They've been hot. It is Star Wars night too, of course. You guys know how much I love Star Wars here. Heck, you can see the poster behind me and the other stuff, But, I do want to talk about the keys to the game. I've been harping on avoiding the rust a lot this episode. But there are other things that I want to touch on as well. And we will do that right after this quick break, folks. Now, folks, it's almost to the halfway point of the season, Canes fans. And the Hurricanes, they've been on the come up. They've righted their ship. So regardless of where the Hurricanes are in the current standings, I want to remind you that you could win big by playing daily fantasy hockey on Sleeper, the official daily fantasy app of the Locked On NHL Network. Sleeper is our number one choice for daily fantasy sports and especially daily fantasy hockey, because with Sleeper, you can win 100 times your cash in daily fantasy hockey contests. Now, you can obviously, do, whatever you'd want there, whether, you'd want to, do something with Andrei Svechnikov or Sebastian Aho. They've been on such a tear as of late. And all you have to do is pick weather studs like Aho, like Svechnikov, or you're not limited to just the NHL. You got NFL, NBA, MLB, college football, all of that stuff there on Sleeper. And Sleeper will record, or you will record more or less their sleeper projections for things like goals, assists, saves, plus minuses, and more in any given game. To win 100 times bet on Sleeper, you need to correctly predict the outcome of 8 player stats. You heard me, Canes fans. You can win 100 times your money playing daily fantasy hockey with Sleeper. So start paying attention and nail your picks so you can start winning big. Use promo code Locked On NHL and you'll get up to $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. That's code Locked On NHL. See Sleeper's terms of use for details and locational availability. Now, keys to the game, folks. Again, I cannot say it enough. Avoid the rust. Avoid the rust. Avoid the rust. Again, a 4-day break. That can be a long. That can be a long break. Obviously, you love it for them. Because that gives them a little bit extra time to rest up, heal up. We are getting to that halfway point of the NHL season. So guys are starting to get banged up. Injuries are starting to pile up. You look at Nate is still out. Foss, finally coming back in. You look at what Svesh has dealt with this season. So you kind of look at all that, just those extra few days, just the rest, I think, could really be beneficial to them, not only for this game, but also just kind of in the long run as well. We're all getting to that point now, where just those few days of rest means a lot. Our backs don't hurt as much or whatever. But, it is going to be important again to, not to avoid the game rust. That's going to be really, really important. That's my biggest key to this game is avoiding the game rust. But there's also other things as well. As I said earlier, play the full 60 minutes. Let's not wait till halfway through the first or into the second to wake up. That goes hand in hand with avoiding that rust as well. Now, the Hurricanes have been playing a really good team game, so you obviously want to see that continue. Special teams, we talked about that the other day. It's been booming as of late, and that's obviously fantastic, and we love every single bit of it. And as of right now, they are sitting at number 2 in the NHL in power play percentage at 28.7%. And in penalty killing, they are currently at number 9 in the NHL at 82.8%. That's obviously the season as a whole. But one thing that is really cool is, talking about this stretch that they've been on, the special teams have, again, been rolling, and they're at a league best since December 1st. And in that time frame from December 1st to right now, power play is operating at 40.4% on scoring on 13 of 25. Penalty killing has also been a league best at 92.7%. And just on the power play alone, as I said, Aho and Svech being really, really, really stinking important to this team right now. Through the last 7 games, they have had 18 points on the power play. Those guys are absolutely killing it right now. And you really want to see that continue. We had seen, earlier in the season, just kind of the lack of Svech out there on the ice. Heck, I'm wearing my Svech shirt today. Just kind of what he brings to this team and elevating this team to that next level, getting them back to the level we know they are capable of being at. And it's all coming together. You see it out there on the ice. These guys are playing with the confidence and swag they didn't have earlier in the season. When they're really struggling, they look like themselves again. And I'm really loving it. I think that they have, if they can keep this up, they have a shot. It's obviously still middle of January, anything can happen, but they have some momentum behind them. And, it's really, really fun to watch. Obviously, we're all going to be looking at Jesper Fast tonight. His first game back in a while. Like I said, he's going to have limited ice time. He's slotted in on the fourth line. He's not going to be out there as much as he would normally be. They are going to ease him in, and that's totally fine. That's totally expected as well. I don't think a single person, would be sitting here, thinking, oh, he's going to slot back into his normal spot and get his normal ice time. No, he's been out. Let's ease him in. Let's don't risk re-injuring and getting hurt again. We don't want that. We know what Jesper Fast brings to the team as well. So, let's have, a good game. Defense, has been really good. Brent Burns, he's been on a roll as of late. Through the last 6 games, 3 goals, 6 assists. His confidence is back. He had a really slow start to the year. The SAT line as a whole, talking at even strength, 9 goals and 27 points, in the last 6 games. The stars are stepping up. That was a big thing that was talked about during that struggle when, Brind'amour, Winstall, when these guys, were calling guys out saying, the stars need to step up. Guys need to look in the mirror. Guys need to buy in. It feels like it. I've said it before. It feels like they've gotten on the same page now. Now, it's going to be interesting to see, just how long this momentum builds. Whenever the inevitable dip is again, does that begin tonight? Is that later on down the road? I don't know. We're just going to have to wait and see on that. But I'm looking forward to tonight's game. I made some buffalo chicken dip earlier. I'm going to enjoy this game, folks. I want you to enjoy the game as well. So make sure you are following along on social media at LO_Hurricanes and myself at Jared Ellis _96. And don't forget, folks, to go subscribe over on YouTube as well. And I will talk to you guys in the next episode, folks. And don't forget, let's go Canes.